Welcome back. If it is joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, calls on the international community to help Nigeria's IDPs. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo tells those expecting that the Chibok girls will be found to seek other options. The Kogi State experiences a scarcity. And the United Nations Security Council condemns North Korea's launch of a long-range rocket. Read up more on our top stories. You'll find them on our websites, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. It's a lot easier when you download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. We also encourage you to please interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Speaking of which, here are a few pictures sent into our Eyewitness portal. We begin with this one of an opening on the road connecting Kaoje and Ilo communities in Kebbi State. Our Eyewitness reporter is calling the attention of the government to fix the road, which could pose great danger if left unattended to. Our next photo comes from Port Harcourt, the River State capital, showing electric cables suspended after the pole holding them broke off. Our Eyewitness reporter wants men of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria to take responsibility and attend to it quickly. Our final picture comes from Odoguyon in Ikorodu area of Lagos State, showing a fallen truck, which our Eyewitness reporter says was carrying scrap material. He says this is a common sight there because of the bad shape of the roads. He says, thankfully, no life was lost. Thanks for sending in those pictures, and please keep them coming. On to some politics now. Supporters of the People's Democratic Party have been urged to uphold the rule of law and continue to abide by the principles of democracy. The governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dixon, said this at Government House, Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where leaders and members of the PDP attended a Thanksgiving reception in honor of Governor Nyesom Wike.
If you have faith, you can move mountains.
These live performances and merriments set the tone for the Thanksgiving reception for the governor of River State, Nyesom Wike. Coming just at a time when the Supreme Court ruled in his favor as the winner of the controversial 2015 governorship elections in River State. The River State governor is joined in this celebration by his fellow PDP governors and supporters. But it's not a day for long speeches, with plenty of side attractions as food and drinks is served. But still basking in the euphoria of the PDP election victories across the South state, this day means so much for some of the PDP governors. The governor of Akwa Ibom shares his goodwill message.
And I also use this to say that as God has brought us this far, as a region in this country, we hold the resources of this nation. The entire pulse of this nation, the extraction is from this region. So the nation will also need to be praying for us. The peace of this region, the peace of this country, the peace of the entire area.
For Governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dixon, who just won a rerun election, he decries the role of the opposition during the Bayelsa governorship poll, while he urged the people to support the PDP.
And so much more than some others, I know how ruthless these other gentlemen are. I know how determined they are to use and to abuse sacred state institutions to achieve partisan political goals and objectives.
The acting national chairman of the party is also not pleased with the political trends in the nation as he talks the ruling APC to address the series of disturbances in the country and stop the intimidation of the judiciary.
They should realize there is no need to continue to ask the leaders of PDP down. It is time for us to work together. It is time to stop harassing. It is time to stop intimidation.
Almighty Father, to you.
Quite a moment to cheer for Governor Nyesom Wike, but it's also a time to focus on how he would get his administration to deliver on the wishes of the people of Rivers State.
Now, all children have the right to protection. They have the right to survive and to grow up in a safe environment. The absence of social infrastructure could lead to an uncertain future for security and economic growth of any nation. However, the problem of child beggars and hawkers still persists in our society. So in this special report, our correspondent, Oluwa Shunibare, takes a trip around the Lagos metropolis to assess the situation.
A popular saying has it that it takes a village to train a child. But what happens when all who should be collectively responsible in ensuring children are brought up in a conducive environment appear to have shirked the duty? The resultant effect of this neglect is having children swarm the streets in search of what to do. Across the metropolis of Lagos, the act of employing children as beggars or hawkers has become a headache that must be treated.
Our leaders should look inwards. What is it that they are doing that is lacking? Laudable programs like SMEs, empower the youths will empower their wards, the wards will empower the children. It goes down like that.
These young boys have become cobblers in a bid to survive. They look harmless now, but all that may change when they get older and begin to demand more out of life. Girls are also thrown to the mercy of the streets to hawk bread or drinks. The thought of prostitution, unwanted pregnancies, or sexually transmitted diseases is as scary as its reality. There are also cases of exploitation where children are brought to Lagos under the guise of greener pastures in the form of education.
Somebody who sends a child to his brother in Lagos or in another place for him to help that person or something like that, for you to discover that that child did not even go to school, they didn't send him to school, they just use the child to make money on their own, sending them out, give them, for example, they will give them crates of mineral to save for them. If they didn't say it's finished, they won't eat anything, and they won't leave. The child will be left by begging on the streets, hawking on the streets, all sorts of things like that, and it's not good.
This little girl's job as a window washer is probably what feeds the entire family. So there's no other choice but to clean and beg. As a society, we must realize that it is dangerous to believe that if a matter does not affect you, then it should be ignored. Because what is left unattended to today may just turn out to be tomorrow's worst nightmare. Oluwa Shunibare, Channels Television News.
Joining me now tonight to discuss our focus is human rights activist Abiola Akinyode. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, I think, sometimes you tend to forget, what child abuse really is when you compare it to child rights. Could you just clarify that a bit for us?
Well, internationally and locally, a child is presumed to have rights, and that means it's protected under the law as a human being, just like any other person, and has a right to development, to participation in the society, to growth without any form of hindrance or violation. Child abuse is all form of abuses that a child can face. It could be sexual exploitation, it could be child labor, it could be other form of abuses that a child can.
Do you think there's a lot of awareness in what the rights of a child are? I mean, because a Nigerian child thinks, so the average Nigerian child Your right is to go to school, get a proper education, come back home, have 3 square meals a day, have a roof over your head, have clothes on your back, and be able to live and play, as you can. But there are other rights, right?
Yeah, there are other rights. Sometimes in 2003, the Nigerian government came together and came up with the child rights law. And I think some states in the country have been using that as a platform to explain to children in different schools about what their rights are, the limits of their rights, and also what they can benefit under that law. I'm aware that Lagos State government has been doing a lot in that regard to explain to children in different schools about what their rights are. And that has been a good document to start off discussions about rights of the child in Nigeria.
But the problem is implementation, right? Because we see lots of more children on the streets these days, and nobody is trying to guide them or, take them off the streets or tell them, they come, as we saw in the reports, some of them are cleaning your windows, some are hawking things and so on, and that puts them at risk of, being sexually exploited.
Well, there's a general problem with awareness, especially when laws are made in Nigeria and when it has to do with human rights, whether it's child rights or women's rights or anyone's rights. I don't think that the government is doing enough in terms of creating that awareness for people to know about what these rights are, and also for people to know that when you violate the child's rights by taking the child on the street, sending the child to go and sell pure water on the street, doing a lot of things to the child that could damage the growth and development of that child, which constitutes a violation of that child rights law. People are not aware of that. And also because the issue of child labor has been with us for a very long time, to the extent that people don't even know when they are violating it. So that's why it's important for us to create that awareness. So I don't think that we are doing enough as civil society organization, as government, to let people understand what these rights are and how those rights can be enforced.
Yeah, but shouldn't that also come from a place of love? Because as a parent, if you love your children, there are certain things you wouldn't want them to do. You wouldn't want them to be out on the streets in the afternoon after school, hawking things. So shouldn't that all come from a place of love at the end of the day?
People have given different excuses and justification for sending their children out. People have said because of poverty. And when you have a country where there is no social security, there's a major challenge in terms of, and people don't also have employment, So there are lots of reasons and justifications that people are giving to it. But whatever the justification is, it's a big risk. It's like we are mortgaging our future. So it's not something that should be tolerated. It's something that is condemnable. So it is not something that in any way we should even allow to happen, even as parents, no matter how oppressed we are. We look at you see what happens on the street on a daily basis. Children are knocked down by vehicles, and for the girls, they are much more exposed to a lot of other things like sexual abuse and STDs and HIV and what have you.
You're talking to parents who are spending more time outside the home. They have to work 2-3 jobs. I know that happens here in Lagos. So a child probably spends about 8 hours in school, and then for the rest of the day, he or she is left to his or her own vices. And the parents are busy working to pay school fees. They're busy working to, buy food and to buy clothing and so on. What do you tell such parents?
Well, that's actually not a justification. You are responsible for the child. You are responsible for the child, and it's your responsibility to ensure that your child is well taken care of, that your child does not go outside of the school. Oftentimes those we find on the street, they're actually people that their parents actually brought them to the streets. These children don't really go to the street on their own. There are people that parents, guardians are using to make money and asking them also to fend for themselves and giving justifications of poverty and a whole lot of other things like that to do that. It's a responsibility of the parent to take care of their children. So I would not expect any responsible parent to send a child, to leave a child, even if you are working from morning till evening, to do whatever they can do and then go on the street to go and sell pure water or do other things. But there are a lot of issues with regards to the issue of child labor in Nigeria. The child rights law, as I said, speaks very well to the issue of child labor and actually condemns it as something that is not acceptable. Likewise, the Labor Act. But unfortunately in Nigeria, since 2003 when the child rights law has been passed, about 26 states out of 36 states have been able to pass it, which actually brings a lot of issues to bear. So we have different states like Abia State coming up with their own different version, particularly when it comes to child labor. You know, Delta State has their own version, Lagos State has their own version. For Lagos, I think they have what they call the red and the green card. When they get your child on the street for the first time, they give you, I think, the red card and, you know, and the green card and all that. Yeah.
Abiola Akinode, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
You're welcome.
And when the News at 10 returns, a water scarcity hits Kogi State. We'll have that story in a moment. Please stay with us.